And welcome back, where we've got Blaster's Blues.
I think it's you this time.
All right. Megatron. I did it again. This episode is my Mandela effect. I've always thought it was Blaster's Blues, but no, it is Blaster Blues. What?
Blaster Blues.
All right. Megatron steals the Voltronic Galaxer and sets up a lunar base to hijack all of Earth's radio waves, holding them hostage for energy. Blaster and Cosmos find his base, but are captured. The Autobots help stop disasters caused by the situation, but are attacked by Decepticons. Blaster interferes with Megatron's broadcast and leads Optimus, Powerglide, Omega Supreme, Spike, and Carly to the base, which they destroy.
I want to say that real quick that Blaster Blues sounds like a Cowboy Bebop episode.
It does.
Really does, yeah. Blaster Blues.
If only I could have this consistently good music.
I like the kind of Transformer who can kill me.
We
Precisely.
need to be completely different vehicle forms by the end of it.
What's the female Transformer that's in Transformers 1? I haven't
Elita
seen that.
1.
Elita
Yeah.
1.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the kind of Transformer who can kill me.
Just kill me. I could totally see that that scene redone with Blaster and Elita 1 now. Yeah. or maybe Arachnid.
Yeah.
Because she actually would kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Speaking of Blaster, I think it's funny that he's at a concert and just pirating the concert.
Yes.
You know what? Based.
Yeah. So apparently this is like the band that created that generic rock song that they use in like every other episode.
Like the one that Jazz always plays.
There's two different rock songs. Yeah, that's why Jazz likes it when he starts broadcasting it, is because Jazz has heard this tune before. But why are they playing both of the generic rock songs over the top of each other at the same time?
Yeah.
How are they doing that? Why are they doing that? I understand why they are annoyed by it, because they're playing two different songs at the same time.
Yeah. Words,
Man, words.
I'm like the Autobots getting overstimulated by music, the existence of music.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's a nice reminder that 80s rock is to the 80s then, as I guess hip hop is to us now. People being like, ugh.
Yeah.
But
Some people don't get it.
What's
Some
that?
some people really like it. And some people do not get it.
yeah.
But you got an interesting note here.
Yeah. The statement of, I think it was Optimus saying, humans call it music, implies that Cybertron doesn't have music, at least to me.
Yeah.
Or-
Go ahead.
well, no, you go ahead.
I was going to say, that's a very interesting thought.
They just listen to the sound of ambient Cybertron space noise of the...
Yeah. every time they show Cybertron. But that's a very good point, because number one, they're at war so often that they might not have time for recreational types things, which is why they get so interested in human sports and stuff like that. However, we do see in other media that they do have sports and stuff like that. So, and there are times of peace, like the Golden Age and stuff like that. We'll see in other episodes. And we have characters like Blaster and Jazz who like music.
His name's literally Jazz.
His name is literally Jazz, and he was called that before they came to Earth too. Now that might just be a translation. In one of the comics, I believe they actually say that his code name is Jazz, so it could just be and I think in IDW they also said that it's like a translation of what they have. Yeah, in IDW they showed he was like part of a jazz band, but they called it something else because obviously a different alien language. But anyway,
for me, canonically, I just feel like jazz is the only music on Cybertron.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
This is why they're weak to 80s rock.
Somebody send Kenny G up there.
Yes.
Bring world peace.
Make peace, not war.
Yeah. But I think that this specific thing is a dig on the rock and roll that they're playing, that they're just calling it noise. They don't register it as music. Not that they don't know what music is.
Yeah, and Sparkplug was also complaining about it. So
Yeah.
guess he likes the soft rock,
classical music. He likes yacht rock.
I think later in this episode, or it may be the next episode, somebody plays disco, and it's just the most horrible techno noise, and that's
like
jeez. That's the sound effect you wanted to use to convey disco.
Yeah, there are so many better songs. That also reminds me of a Transformers Cybertron. Bud says that he thinks that disco stinks.
Yes. Disco's
Anyway.
lame, man.
Yeah, we go to Professor Haley.
Yes, and the Voltronic Galaxy.
Yes, the Voltronic. I love that name. That's
The Voltronic guy.
Voltronic Galaxy.
Okay, so I know that it's like volume, like the electronic volume, like it's supposed to be broadcasting his voice really loud. He's just yelling into the cosmos, basically. But it sounds like Voltron, like the show Voltron, or like Volcano or something like that. Like it's gonna shoot lava into space.
Which, by the way, sound doesn't transfer.
Right. There's no medium for it to transfer through.
But I guess Dr. Haley just liked the name of it.
Yeah.
But he's trying to reach out to alien life to communicate with it. You're getting invaded by alien robots right now.
Right.
My guy, my dude.
They're. At some point, you gotta admit that the Dark Forest hypothesis might have a point to it. Maybe stop reaching out.
Yeah.
You know what's worse than getting invaded by one alien species? Getting invaded by maybe more aliens.
Exactly. And we know, we will see in later episodes that there are other alien species out there. And some of them are way bigger than Transformers. You don't want them showing up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is weird. Like, does he? At first, I thought, okay, maybe he doesn't know about Transformers. They are robots in disguise. They don't. So maybe he just hasn't heard about them. Well, number one, how can you not have heard about them when the planet Cybertron was in orbit for several weeks, possibly?
Yep.
Number two, he turns, as soon as he's attacked by Decepticons, he turns around and calls the Autobots. So he knows who they are, and he addresses Optimus Prime by first name. The only thing I can think of is that he doesn't know that they are aliens. Like, he thinks that they're some sort of, like, Russian, U.S. military equipment or something.
In the new comic line, they actually explore that a little bit.
Interesting.
Because... they tie G.I. Joe into it, and
Right.
Duke is like, what is this, like, Russians? What?
Yeah.
Where do they come from?
What are these guys?
I gotta get my Hoopla account fixed so I can read that.
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
let me call up Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
Where are they getting the funding? These scientists keep building these things that Decepticons steal. Where are they getting the funding for this?
That is a good
And
question.
why do they keep broadcasting it to everybody? Have you not learned that as soon as you invent something, the Decepticons are going to come in and steal it?
Exactly.
Right. Well, it kind of goes back to your conspiracy board, Hayden, about like what is the connection between the scientist and Cybertronian technology at this point.
And how much is it being implemented? Where they get the funding from? How many of them are actually just trying to manipulate the Cybertronian tech to their own gains and everything? And it's a dark, complicated web of probably Cobra Illuminati.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, by the time of the movie, the time skip, society is like really advanced and like
Yeah.
spacefaring. So
Right.
it's just Autobots and Decepticons are being dramatic and stealing radio frequencies and beating each
Right.
other up. Meanwhile, the humans are just taking their technology.
Right.
A fine addition to my collection.
Exactly.
I like that theory.
Yeah. So did they banish Blaster after he disrupts everybody's communication with his rock music? They're just like, you go with Cosmos out there somewhere. You could be on lookout out by the moon. I do like their pairing, though. They seem to get along pretty well.
Cosmos and Blaster have a good companionship because Cosmos is just really, really affable.
Yeah.
And Blaster's very groovy, so they kind of gel well together.
Yeah.
They're both about vibes.
Just vibing.
Cosmos is just like a sad little space janitor man.
Yeah. I feel like with this season, with how many new characters get put in, that you gotta like, all right, this is their episode. You have to make it, stand out. Give them some stuff to do. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And it's so funny, the difference between the way that the G1 cartoon makes Blaster stand out and the way the G1 comics made Blaster stand out, where he was like this renegade
Blaster was
spy
basically Rambo.
that was going on his own like little Rambo mission, being hunted by both Autobots and Decepticons, and took out Straxus on a space bridge, and just and then here
Hitler.
he's like, I'm gonna pirate music and make everybody suffer. But and then he gets welded into the machine, which could be a lot scarier. And I from what I understand, talking about the new comics, that
my goodness,
they do that into the extreme.
The part where the Decepticons pull apart Skywarp. I was like, what? This is so messed up.
Poor guy. That's like in I think it's Revenge of the Fallen, where they take apart the Constructicons take apart one of the Constructicons to rebuild Megatron.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But he's just like, no, in the background. It's like, oh my goodness. But here you get the more kid-friendly version of that, where they're just like nailed to the wall, him and Cosmos. But the moon base kind of reminds me of in Armada, where the Decepticons have a base on the moon.
Yeah, it's also funny that they just have it. I guess it kind of makes sense for Decepticons to be able to fly up to the moon, but I guess it's handy that we have, I guess, the first introduction, which again, this doesn't make me think that our continuity is exactly on point, because Omega Supreme is just dropped in, and along with Astro Train as being introduced, and he has a spotlight episode of, The Secret of Omega Supreme, where you get more of an origin story with him, but here he's just kind of there. So very convenient that the Autobots have a spacefaring ally amongst their
Somebody
ranks.
to take them to the moon since Skyfire disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the Omega Supreme just turning into the rocket with launch pad and stuff.
Yeah.
I just had a moment like, wait, that's allowed?
Yeah. What the heck is this allowed?
That's the most like elaborate transformer transformation with
Yeah.
the rocket and launch pad
Yeah.
and like fuel.
It's like a Lego set.
Yeah, exactly. Like a full-on
You
Lego
take them
set.
apart and build them into something else. And once again, like with Shockwave, he's originally from a different toy line.
That makes a lot of sense because it just feels like he transforms into all of that with Rocket. It's like that's very complicated.
Yeah.
Like that's
the little tank becomes his head, and the tank track becomes his wings, and the main thing becomes his body. It gets arms out of the rocket.
I feel like with like other Transformers, they're more compact, where it should like if he came from like this toy line, then he would just transform into a rocket, you know,
Right,
a
right,
spacefaring rocket, but because it came from something else, you have all the additional parts that come to him.
Yeah.
You know?
And then the way they explain him, they just don't. He launches the rocket and leaves the base on Earth, and then he lands on the moon, and the rocket base appears out of the dust cloud. I love it. That is the most G1 thing.
Yeah, it's the.
It's like, how are we going to explain this? We don't. That's the fun part, Mark. You don't.
You know he's always got that thing on him.
Oh yeah. It's just I just love the image of the rocket taking off and just taking the base with it. Yeah. It just hangs off the bottom. Like it would make sense if the rocket turned into one dude. And the base turned into one dude, and the tank turned into one dude, and then they combined into Omega Supreme.
Yeah.
But no.
When I saw, like, I looked at it, and it seemed like it should have been a combiner.
Yeah.
Set, but it's just not.
Yeah,
It doesn't
it's a
make any
combiner.
sense.
It's just one guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Which, I guess, if you were a combiner and all you turned into was, like, a launch pad or a fuel tank, that's not...
Yeah.
It's not the most flashy.
Yeah.
Humans are coming. Quick, disguise yourself. And just a fuel tank in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, being a fuel tank is, like... That's, like, the worst thing you could transform into. That's, like... You're just an explosive.
Chuck him at the
Well,
enemy.
I always the first time I saw Cosmos before I saw him in motion, I thought he turned into a landmine, and I was like, "What good is that gonna do?" Like you just the little red part on top. I thought you just step on that and he blows up.
Yeah, I see it.
This guy has one job, and he's not coming back from it.
It's like the Kingsman movie, or he steps on the landmine, like country roads. It's one job.
Yep.
I mean that's something that could be explored with Transformers, but I feel like kamikaze Transformers may have some
Yeah.
ethical.
Yeah, I don't think they would sell very well in Japan.
Oh no.
No, you misunderstand. It gives you a good opportunity to army build because you need a bunch of these guys to make them an effective fighting force.
Yeah. It's like those transforming droids in that Star Wars Clone Wars episode.
Yes.
Where they had the most epic battle droid mode, and then they turn into street sweepers, and then they turn into bombs.
Yeah.
Or the buzz droids, where you just throw out these little balls and they just drill into your spaceship.
Love the buzzwords.
Oh yeah. We get a fun sequence where Megatron is like disrupting the airwaves and not allowing anyone on Earth to communicate with each other.
Yeah.
And the fun part of this, I think, is that we kind of see the Autobots taking on a first responder sort of role.
Yeah.
It's like a long sequence of them basically being rescue bots. And taking on like their defender of Earth role.
Yeah.
And they're not just about fighting Decepticons, they're also about like, just help out anybody who's in need sort of thing. So
Yeah, something that I always judge superhero properties by, and I feel like Transformers falls into
They're
that.
kind of superheroes.
Is do we actually get to see the heroes protecting random or helping out random people?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's one of my biggest problems with Marvel movies now is that there's none of that.
It's
You don't see
just,
them being heroic.
they fight
Civilians
the
are
bad
an
guy and
afterthought.
that's it.
Yeah, exactly. So the fact that we get to see that here with Autobots actually, since they're all, Autobots modeled after working class kind of things,
Right.
except for
Vehicles,
the guy who turns into a tank.
yeah. Yes, my favorite thing to see on the daily commute to work.
And the two Lamborghinis.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I really like it. I like how all three of us put down this note too. Yeah. And even though they do get attacked by Decepticons, and a lot of these calamities are being caused by Decepticons, it's a nice sort of moment of them being citizens of Earth. Kind of that dual citizenship sort of thing that we touched on a little bit in Megatron's master plan.
Yeah.
but that they live here on Earth, and they're being granted amnesty or whatever by the world governments and stuff. So it's nice to see them also helping out with that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that Transformers needs to turn into rescue heroes, although I guess the show Rescue Bots is mostly about that,
right?
And it's kind of neat that there is a separate show that's mostly about Transformers helping humans, and Transformers Animated does that too. But it's just kind of neat to see that take a center stage in this episode.
Yeah.
Also, in case anybody's wondering why Red Alert is shooting down the trees, he's making a fire break. He's trying to stop the fire from spreading by removing the connectivity between
the
trees.
burnable stuff.
Yeah, I know about that. The farm next to my parents' house, they would set everything on, set everything on fire to make way, come outside, and it's just like, oh well, Mordor's just moved in.
Was that pretty freaky the first time you saw
it? Was.
Yeah.
I was like, what happened? Everything's on fire. Actually feeling like
we're walking on the sun.
The community meme of Donald Glover walking into the
right. Yeah.
So do I need to pack up my things? Do I need to evacuate?
I remember archery practice at Matthews. The field next to his house was on fire one time, and we're like, should we be concerned? And he's like, nah, they do that every once in a while. Anyway, yeah. I think the airwave hostage situation is actually probably one of Megatron's simplest but smartest plans that we've seen in a long time.
Because it works.
Because number one, it works. If the Autobots didn't stop him, then he probably would have got what he wanted. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty simple too. Like, it's not an overcomplicated plan. He doesn't have to, terrorize the media. He doesn't have to, he doesn't have to do these political maneuverings. He doesn't have to create a clone of somebody and then trick the Autobots into trusting them and then get them to walk into a chasm or something like that. It's just straightforward. If you don't give me what I want, I'm not giving you back your airwaves. And it's very effective then, and it'd be even more effective today if he did that with the internet.
Yeah.
If he stole the internet, since everything works on computer now.
Yeah. Megatron, after being a drama queen and having these dumb plans, occasionally he just has to lock in, like, all right, fine, I'll disrupt communications across the world, something that would actually weaken my enemies.
Yeah,
right.
I guess I actually have an effective plan.
I do genuinely believe he loves the drama more at this point and just does these things to keep the Decepticons in line.
He 100% does.
100%. For sure. Yep.
There's a whole little sequence where they're trying to survive Decepticon attacks as they're trying to rescue people, and Prime gets another fake out death. Lovely.
I love how they say, we're going to put this emergency transistor pack in him and maybe that will help him.
Yeah.
What? What? I know transistors are supposed to, regulate and boost the flow of electricity, but what?
Yeah.
Is this like a caffeine patch for Transformers or something? What? I know Carly is very smart in other episodes, but what?
Imagine you get shot and you're bleeding out, and then somebody comes over you and have this green tea. It'll balance your chakras.
Then it works.
Yeah. And then it works. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I think Optimus was just taking a nap. He wasn't actually dying. But that
equilibrium.
Stabilized.
My goodness. Also, that Sideswipe's rocket pack, the emergency jet pack is very useful.
Yes.
It's like a tiny version of Sideswipe's pack.
Yeah, they just slapped that on the side of the ship.
You're good to go.
I'm sure that wouldn't you need to put it on both sides, or else the ship's just going to be turning
Just
perpetually?
Maybe his other engine was still working.
Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with it.
Two.
I got no
Engine
gas in
four
it.
is no longer on fire.
I don't know why, but the phrase emergency jetpack just kind of tickled me.
Yeah. Quick, the emergency jetpack. We have those. Which is funny because
Also-
it's the same design as the ones that they use for Dinobot Island, so I guess they do have those.
Sideswipe's rocket pack got mass produced.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
He's not special anymore.
Also, is that Will Ferrell on the Mountain Weatherman? He just kind of looks like him.
Yeah, I can see it.
Anchorman.
Yeah, Anchorman, but not with the mustache.
Yeah.
Like his appearance in the Lego Movie.
I like what you mentioned, Jonah, about the Spike's comments about going to the moon.
Oh yeah. In the notes, the Spike's saying there's a first time for everything when Carly's like, I've never been to the moon.
Yeah.
After she just went to Cybertron.
Yeah. Just got back.
They just have insane things happen all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the first time you go on an airplane, it's like really incredible. Then you're like, but I haven't been first class.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, I haven't been to Europe.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been on an airplane to the neighboring state, but I've not been on an airplane to another country.
Yeah.
Although this would be the opposite because
Exactly.
I've been on an airplane to Japan, but I've not been on an airplane to
Wyoming.
Yeah, Wyoming. Yeah, I feel like they
Texas.
skipped about 100 steps when it came to space travel.
Yeah, true. She's not been on a rocket. She went through a space bridge in a car.
I think that when most people say they want to go to the moon, it's because they don't realize going to a robotic planet is an option.
Yes.
Yeah. Now that it's in, ever since Cybertron moved into the vicinity of Jupiter, it's been a new destination. But you won't find it on a lot of travel plans.
I wonder how Cybertron being in the solar system would mess up people's astrology charts.
Ooh. Yeah.
All right, so what are, I'm a Sagittarius. What are you? Transformer. Or Cybertronius.
Yes.
Cybertronius.
My personality is cold and steel.
What's my horoscope for today? Oh, excellent.
You have change in coming today.
You're always changing.
You will become
Sometimes
a bus.
you even have 3 modes.
But I do like that Spike's demeanor on this. You can kind of see him being like the burned out, like smoking a cigarette, just like, yeah, you get used to it, sort of thing. With him just being around all of this and being on an active war front and stuff. There's unexplored, and I don't think this show is really something that's super concerned with it. But the effects of the traumatic effects of being involved with the Transformers on a 24/7 basis.
Right. Yeah, because like we pointed out, Spike has been around the Autobots since season 1. Carly's been in a few episodes of season 2, and anytime or in her first episode, she is a fangirl.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that she'd be a lot more excited about.
But she's also a lot more capable at things than Spike is.
That's the funny thing. Yeah.
Aside from
Once
Spike's-
again, well, like we said then, she's just way out of Spike's league.
Yeah. Okay, but Spike has super strength.
That's true. I do.
strong.
I do like the pair. I do like the pairing of the smart girl and the tough guy.
Yeah.
I've always thought that was a good pairing.
Yeah, and I feel like Carly's character in this is, generally more capable than a lot of the female characters in boy shows of the time.
Transformers has always been good about that. Like, in a few episodes, we'll get to the one with the female Autobots, and they're,
Tough as nails.
They're tough as nails, but they also have a feminine side, the feminine qualities to them so Transformers has generally a good kind of balance of, not making the female characters cool, but not making them overly masculine to the point that they're just basically another guy character.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. And I'm sure that somebody figured, there's some women who like robots that transform into vehicles.
Yeah.
Sure, let's throw in
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny that you say that because basically the Hasbro was like, oh yeah, we'll just make them all guys because this will be a boys' toy line, But the some of the writers on the show were like, no, my daughter loves this. Can we put some girl characters in it? And they're like, I guess.
We ain't gonna make any toys off of them.
They don't get a toy for 20 years. And when they do, it's gonna suck.
Secretly, Shockwave has been the CEO of Hasbro from Cybertron.
Yes. Yep.
Female Autobots, I thought we discontinued their line.
Yeah. But man, yeah. Something we didn't bring up last when we were talking about the last episode, as if we need to stretch that out anymore. Carly's limp. She only limps for a little while. I think that she's just wanted Spike to carry her for a bit.
Yeah, I noted that. Like, oh, they have her limping after that injury. Oh, there it goes.
Yeah.
I think it's better.
It's better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think she just wanted Spike to carry her for a bit.
Yeah, the escalation that I've noticed of these few episodes of his strength, like, okay, he's just running with her in tow, and he's like not winded at all.
Yeah.
Oh, he held up that giant metal door.
Yeah.
This guy's got something going on underneath the surface.
Yeah.
But here they just kind of watch.
They turn into
I
like
do
the Pokemon supporting cast of like cheering from the sidelines.
Right. But I do like the battle on the moon. It's quick, multifaceted, but easy to follow and has good impact.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask too, Astro Train, is he in any more episodes after this?
Yes, he is.
Okay,
Episodes,
he gets
yeah.
flung into space and he screams like
Like we're never gonna see him again.
yeah.
And the way it's just kind of cut off at the beginning. It's funny.
It's like nobody told him that he has plot armor.
Right.
He genuinely thinks he's dying.
It's so funny because it's 10 times worse because of the vocoder that's on him that makes his already kind of raspy voice even raspier.
Yeah.
Where he's like,
and echoey.
he would normally sound like this, but then the vocoder makes him sound like, ah! So then when he's screaming, he's like, ah!
I like Astro Train. He's
He's a fun guy.
Yeah.
a lover of puns too.
Yeah.
That,
You need more training.
Yeah. In that Transformers and Autism video, they also pointed out that he's like the perfect autistic transformer because he turns into a train and a spaceship.
Oh, speaking of trains, there's a weirdly dated locomotive in this episode. Like, it looks like it's from the Wild West days.
I mean, they might still be running.
Conductor included.
They might still be running in the 80s.
Fair.
Not everything's got a Voltronic galley, sir.
Okay, so this may be a stretch of a comparison.
Yeah.
Second Resident Evil movie, there's a zombie apocalypse, and then they go into a graveyard, and then zombies rise from the ground. But that's not how the T-virus works. So there just happened to be a second zombie apocalypse. I'd love it if we have Transformers. We have anthropomorphic, robot humans.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also Thomas the Tank Engine, which happens to exist. Of different...
or this is more time warps from the Dinobot episode, the Dinobot Island episode.
Yeah,
we've just got a Wild West train just barreling down the track.
Oh, man.
Oh my goodness. I like the idea of Blaster having a radio station on the moon. I think IDW Comics did something with that. We've brought up IDW a lot.
Yes.
But anyway, I think they did something with that in one of their Spotlight
He's
Blaster
perfect
or
for
something.
having a radio station.
Yeah.
I like that concept.
There's a weird audio glitch on.
I've got
end
it
of
in errors.
Yeah,
We'll talk about it in errors. Anyway, anything else y'all want to say about it?
Fun, but for some reason I understand why I never went back and rewatched it quite a bit.
Yeah, there's there's not a whole lot to talk about on this episode. You know, the last two, yeah, it's a little scatterbrained. It's got some good moments in it. It's a nice kind of just day in the life of sort of episode, you know.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of huge lore dumps or anything, but
which is fun because as we mentioned, this is Megatron's like most confident world invasion plan, and it's such a like throwaway episode.
Right. Megatron's biggest competency, and it's only foiled because Blaster was being annoying.
Yeah.
With that, we'll take a break and get to some more insanity after we come back from the break.
Ow.
And we're back.
Alrighty, with a Decepticon raider in King Arthur's court. Synopsis. Some Decepticons, Autobots, and Spike are transported in the Dragon Mound back in time to medieval Britain. Starscream allies with Wigand of Blackthorn to use his men to create energy for them and kidnap Princess Timu during a tournament. Nimue. Why did I say
Timon? Timon and Pumbaa are in this episode?
Why did I... My mouth and my brain were disconnected. That's what this episode does to me.
Yes.
The Autobots ally with Nimue's father and mount a siege on Blackthorn Castle. Wigand decides not to be evil, and the wizard Boarts gives Hoist more power to defeat the Decepticons. Then they fight a dragon and return to their present day of the cartoon.
Bet you didn't expect this one to show up so soon.
Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness. I remember when we were asking if anybody wanted to be... on the podcast as a guest, you specifically said, I want to be on this episode because the doing time travel already. I want to be on that one.
Yeah, I laid claim to this batch, and I'm glad that I did. Because
Yes.
this episode...
This is great. Just peak sci-fi. This is like peak classic pulp sci-fi nonsense.
Yeah.
Like this would be in Weird Tales or Amazing Stories or something.
Yeah.
And I love it.
What I love is that Starscream is the character in this show that I feel like gets the most random, like, side stories.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
absolute bullcrap adventures.
Yeah,
Because
like...
he's in the one where he goes to the giant alien planet where they're all toys, too. Yes.
He travels back in time.
Yeah. Something interesting about this episode right off the bat is I say, ooh, fog. It's not something we see a lot in the Generation 1 animation.
Yeah, the like misty fog. It adds to like the
right.
mystery of like, oh, they're about to
Yeah.
transition from this time to another.
And is this the first episode that doesn't have Optimus in it?
Maybe. I like to think Peter Cullen was just like taking a breather.
Yeah. It's got Megatron in it for like one line.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have Optimus.
Well,
in
then
it.
again, you have to have Frank Welker in the booth to voice half of the Decepticons' force.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Might as well have him in.
So the Dragon Mound is like a cross between Stonehenge and a burial mound, which is pretty common across the British Isles.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Great Britain or whatever you call it.
I'll go ahead and point this out, that they start off in a Western America style rocky desert terrain.
Right.
Before getting transported to Britain.
Yeah.
The fact that it doesn't give any indication of physical transport. Like, there's nothing that says that they move from their physical location. So we have to assume that either they're in Europe or this either moves them physically to a different location.
A different mound.
Another dragon mound.
That has to be the only explanation, because there's nowhere in the UK that looks like Nevada.
Well, here's the thing. Maybe... Because it might also be that they've been fighting there so long that they just blew it up and made it look like Nevada.
Yeah.
But why were they in the UK? I don't know. Maybe.
I hope Tears for Fears is okay.
Yeah. Also, this burial mound is one of the time machines that we couldn't identify in the TF Studio Trigger video that we did.
Yes. It was like the hall.
Yeah,
that
the
briefly
hall
showed
with
up for a
the-
single frame.
Yeah, with the pillars and the text on it.
See, somebody liked a Decepticon Raider in King Arthur's court.
And why not? You thought the last episode was bizarre filler material.
The fact that they just kind of wander into this in the middle of a battle.
Yeah.
Just a time machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. There just happens to be a time machine made by not Merlin.
Yeah. Totally not Merlin.
I think Bayort might be an alternate name for Merlin, but I can't remember.
I did want to cross-reference as many names as possible.
Yeah. I think Sir Wigand, I think they might have just named him that because it sounds like wagon, and that's the closest thing to a car they could do a pun on, like, you know, Carly and Sparkplug and Chip, you know.
I didn't even think about Carly. That one was staring me in the face.
I know, right?
Bayort is an early Old English Anglo-Saxon form of the modern English word bright.
Interesting. Because he does summon lightning.
Yeah. Which magic is canonical in this
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Should we just skip to that note right now?
Yeah.
Apparently, magic, sky gods, and dragons are canonical to this version of 80s Earth, or its history, you know?
Yeah.
And why not? I mean, mechanical space aliens can be a thing. Why not magic, sky gods, and dragons?
Yeah.
I feel like we get a dragon in Prime Target. The hunter guy, he has a dragon captured, and it's not like, oh, this is a mechanical dragon or something. It's just straight up a dragon that still exists in the 80s. But
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not?
I guess. So this has revealed so much about Earth and how it actually functions in the timeline of this cartoon.
Yeah.
In that there was rampant energy that was probably able to be used as magic, which is weirdly in line with Beast Wars. There being incredibly rampant energon.
I didn't even think about that. The sky god, what is he called? Like
Tyros.
Tyros?
Tyros.
Tyros.
Spelled Tyrwas.
Okay. I thought you said kilos. Or
Kilos.
something like that.
British god of weight.
Yeah. What if that's the Vok?
The dragon is a Vok.
Or no, kilos or Tyros.
Tyros, yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. The sky god. What if he's one of the Vok from Beast Wars? Yeah.
But none of that's
Interesting.
important. What's the most important plot point of this entire episode is Spike cheating on Carly.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, what's up with that? And
Yeah.
like we've had 3 episodes where they've been together, and it's always been kind of implied that they're together, and eventually they do get together because she's his wife and mother of his child in season 3,
Yeah.
right? But as soon as he sees that medieval girl, he's like, ooh.
He's about to have a fling.
This medieval princess who talks like a Californian.
With the occasional thee and thou very horribly placed in those sentences.
I have a note on that in errors.
Yes.
We will talk about their language too.
I love Spike and Starscream's reactions to going back in time, where Spike is like, "Ooh, I can, I get a free pass."
Yeah.
And
Charlie hasn't happened yet.
it doesn't exist. I might never go home.
Yeah.
And then Starscream's like, "I'm 1,000 years back in the time. I don't have to deal with my boss anymore."
Yeah. So here's the funny thing. Huygens says that it's the year 543 AD, and I think that's a funny joke when Hoist says that Nimue's dress is 542, and she's like, "Oh, we're a year behind in fashion," which probably would happen in the medieval ages. And then Starscream says it's 1,451 years until they have to worry about the Autobots or Megatron, right? Mm-hmm. Which, if you put that together, equals 1994. So, does G1 not take place in the 80s? Or is this episode specifically set in the 90s? Or is Starscream counting on a different calendar system? Or is this just an error on his part? Is he just dumb?
I think that within this universe, it would make sense if it were in the 90s. Because obviously they don't know this yet when they're making it. But, you know, the fall of the Soviet Union in 91.
Right.
And then there's a brief period where people were kind of working together on Earth. But unless you were in the Middle East. And then, you know, obviously we know what happens next.
Yeah.
But, okay, I can see how in like 1994... people of Earth might work with Autobots.
Yeah, that's true. And it's also, you know, it's a big jump from 84, 86 to 2005. So I don't see why some of these episodes can't come later than, be chronologically later than 84, 86. But it's probably just a math error.
Yeah. Could be Starscream running on Cybertron time.
Yeah, because 84 is like canonically when they wake up, so he would have to deal with Megatron and the Autobots before 1994.
Yeah.
Although he might be specifically referring to when they left. Also, if you live for thousands and millions of years, being off by a decade is going to be nothing. That's going to be like, oh, it happened on Tuesday. No, that was Monday. Close enough.
Yeah.
Maybe he was going by a Cybertronian calendar.
Right. Or even just Jupiter calendar, because Cybertron's around Jupiter now.
Jupiter-ish.
I don't know. Anyway, just a silly thing that may or may not add to lore.
The feud.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the feud.
Go ahead with your note first, Jonah.
Oh, yes. These two rival lords are feuding over cows.
Yes.
Some cows crossed over the fence. I love this as a representation of just the petty feuding of the Decepticons and Autobots.
Yeah. Just replace cow with Voltronic Galaxer.
Yeah, exactly.
And honestly, that's pretty accurate. Like, if you go into like Irish mythology, their biggest text of like the what's it called, the Tuatha, I think. That's might not be right, but it's where Cuchulainn is from, or his most famous adventures, and the whole war, the Toyn Baculan, I think that's what it's called. The whole war starts over a cattle raid. That a lot of their wars in Irish mythology start because of cattle raids.
Yeah. I think that quite a few human conflicts have started over really petty reasons.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And then they just, make it legendary by, because they don't want to admit that it was a dumb, petty reason.
Yeah.
You know, they just blow it out of proportion.
Well, also the curious thing about these people is, I love the depiction of them. I was surprised by this, is that they take the Transformers in stride. Like, there's a few who are like, oh, wow, what are you? Like that. And they're just like, oh, you're just a really big knight. Cool.
Yeah.
They're totally chill with it. None of them are like losing their mind and being like, or anything like that.
Which is actually a neat reflection on like the medieval mindset of like, if you look at bestiaries or, the wonders of the East or something, they're always talking about, giants exist somewhere.
Yeah.
So why not? Well, when this thing walks out. Also, dragons and sky gods and magic exists. So, why not a 20-foot tall, like Merlin says, make somebody 20 feet. Not Merlin. Bayort says, off-brand Merlin says, make somebody 20 feet tall and thinks he rules the world, as if this happens all the time.
The theme of this episode is definitely...
they're a little amazed by them turning into vehicles, but other than that, they're like, neat.
Yeah. Like, I think the theme of this episode is an advanced enough science is indistinguishable from magic. Because and it's also very, very pitch perfect casting for who goes into the past, because you have Starscream, who's already been established as being a scientist. Mm-hmm. So out of all the people to survive in an energy devoid period of history, he's the guy who's going to have the biggest advantage.
Right.
And but then you also have Warpath, who's there, and this is normally when they get a spotlight episode like this, you normally get more characterization on them.
Yeah.
Warpath is completely neutral because he is entirely focused on warfare.
Yeah.
Being a tank, he's the epitome of warfare.
Yeah.
At the time that the 80s and stuff.
Right.
He's a war machine.
Right.
So naturally, it seems that he was going to be more attracted to this like more warlike culture of, they have something we want, we're just gonna go attack them. And him like fitting into like the kind of knight chivalry culture and stuff around him kind of seamlessly. Mm-hmm. And then most of the other ones are just having a bad time.
Yeah. This is a question about Starscream, kind of thriving here. He knows how to invent gunpowder, right? Mm-hmm. That implies that Transformers at some point used gunpowder, unless he's just been reading up on chemical reactions on Earth or something like that. Which is a very interesting thing to think about, because in all the like history videos and stuff, they're always shooting lasers. So like, was there ever a point where they used gunpowder, or just it's just something that he knows about from one of his scientific adventures?
Yeah, I think that. I personally think that he would go off of like the chemical reactions, because I don't think that they would have like the chemicals on the deposits on Cybertron,
right?
Unless there was at some point that it was ever like not a mechanical planet,
right?
I just don't see them like mining or finding that sort of thing there. So
I mean, they mine the Cybertonium, so maybe they mine some other things, because I mean, when they talk about like the Quintessons creating the Transformers, it seems like they just built up the planet to be Cybertron, rather than like the usual Primus turns into the planet story. Yeah. So it's possible that at one point it was like an organic planet or something.
The planet of Theseus.
Yes. If you've replaced every biological material on a planet with mechanical material, is it still the same planet? Oh my goodness. Speaking of the ship of Theseus, we got a mention of Ramjet replacing his head, which reminds us that they use spare parts, but also like, is he still Ramjet?
This dude is so good at ramming things with his head that it's, one, his name, but two, he has replaced his head. Yeah. Which we can assume based off of the shape of his head.
It's just the nose cone part of his head.
Like it's a hat sort of thing.
Yeah.
But the fact that he does it while in robot form as well, where he just...
he headbutts the knight off the horse. Yeah. I love that. I love the joust with the tank and the fighter jet. And Starscream just taking the princess captive.
Yeah. This is peak camp, because you can also tell that the writers are in on it, that this is a goofy episode for the sake of having a goofy episode,
but not in like a wink wink nudge nudge way, but more like we're all in on this. This is going to be a goofy episode, and we're going to take it seriously, make it just laying into it, and that's what makes it so much fun. Whereas if they were like, oh, aren't we being silly the whole time?
But it's like
it wouldn't be
the knights and everyone being kind of aware of like well, not really self-aware, but having the goofy voices that are so ridiculously over the top, and all of that. I think this was a intentionally done camp.
Yeah, they lean into the cheese to make it work.
Yep, they're like, whoa, we have to make a time travel episode today.
Yeah,
here we go.
Let's do this.
I also wanted to note that when Starscream throws the princess into the air and then transforms into jet mode as she lands in the cockpit, I was just thinking that is such an insanely risky way of doing that.
Yeah.
Showboating to the max.
Yeah. It's like throwing some food in the air, catching it in your mouth.
Which happens 1 out of the 10 times that it
Right.
Yeah. I swear, Starscream, Megatron. The only reason why Megatron keeps Starscream around is because they're both basically theater majors.
Yes.
They love the drama.
Right.
Megatron just can't stand, not having drama in his life.
Honestly, that is the best explanation as to why he keeps Starscream around in Generation
Yes.
1. Later shows always try to explain it, but no, I think you're right on the money with that for G1.
Yeah.
He also did that with Dr. Arkeville, didn't he? Where he just transforms and just throws him into his cab.
Yes, he
when
does.
They take off at the end of.
This is a recurring move.
Yeah. I do like this timer on they need energy, and if they run out, they don't know if they'll ever be able to get more because they don't have the same resources that they have on hand in 80s Earth. And then Starscream with the witch's cauldron is just really funny.
Yes.
The giant cauldron.
Elixir.
I'm glad that they had a Transformers-sized cauldron lying around.
Right. Maybe he made that too.
Sure, I mean, he can squeeze treasure into wire. He grabbed a handful of gold coins and squeezed it into wire.
I love the bit at the end when Wiggin takes a little bit of what's left of the wire and turns it into a little ring for the movie.
It's not much. No, it was an extremely precious metal just hand crushed into wire.
Impressive, man.
Oh my goodness.
Starscream really shines a lot in this episode. He's doing a lot.
Yeah.
I love the castle siege.
Yes.
Hoist is just a bridge and then a siege ladder.
Yeah.
What got me about that is the equipment they were using is accurate to siege warfare.
Yeah, really.
And you never see that in actual medieval war movies or stuff. Even Lord of the Rings, there's no moats around Helm's Deep. They don't have that kind of equipment. But here in this throwaway Transformers time travel episode, they have all of the right siege equipment.
Right.
Oh man.
Just in the wrong time era, which I'll get to in errors. I got a note on time errors. But the and then them bursting through the wall and then just swinging around the dynamo and crashing it into the wall, exploding into a cymbal flip.
Yeah.
Scene transition, great, just fantastic. No notes.
Love the action in this episode.
Oh
yes.
It's great. Pretty decent animation too.
Yeah, and a continuation of talking about Spike's strength.
Yeah.
He tries to climb into the tower to save the princess. He falls into the lake down below.
Yeah.
It's around the castle. He sinks because he's in armor. And what does he do? He rips his plate armor. He rips it off. Grabbing it from the front and tears it open.
As if it's just a cheap shirt.
Yeah.
I guess when Hound was designing the armor, also I like that Hound creates some armor for him, but the with an Autobot logo on the shield.
Yeah.
He must have just installed a self-destruct button on it. But we also see he's training to outdo Chip because Chip can rip a floppy disk in half with his bare hands.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I did have a question with the Autobots logo on the shield. I thought that was funny, but I also wondered, were they did they want to make night action figures?
That would have been really funny. Just
Yeah.
do a crossover or something. Do a night action figure and have it with a Transformer logo on it.
Yeah.
Or even have somebody transform into a knight. Well, that comes way back into The Last Knight, the live action movie with the Cybertronians that look like knights.
Yeah.
Another note. I'm sorry. I really mixed up these notes on this. I didn't know what I was doing. I should have put all of Jonah's notes in order, left them in order, and then put my scatterbrain notes around those other notes. Anyway, Warpath implies that it takes energy to stay transformed, which is an interesting note. I figured that it would take energy to transform, and then once you're in that mode, it's just you're just in that mode. Because I feel like we've seen other episodes where they just kind of get stuck in a mode when they run out of energy.
Exactly. That's what we've seen before.
Yeah.
Even like the first season where it takes effort to transform.
Right.
So I feel like that was a misspeaking on Warpath's part because I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, that's a good point. It's just like the characters in fiction don't have to be right all the time. We always seem to a lot of times we always seem to expect that whatever a character says is canon, is the canon explanation for something. But characters should be just people in the story, and people are wrong all the time. You know, so if they say something, you know, like I could say something about my spleen and be completely wrong about it. It makes sense that a transformer would say something about their biology and be wrong about it.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Well, to be wrong.
Yeah.
But
only the doctors should like be right all the time about biology, you know?
yeah, instead they're coming up with Voltronic galaxy synthesizers.
Exactly.
Or photon lights.
Yeah. Something that Wheeljack made that actually works.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. You already talked about Ramjet living up to his name. You already talked about Warpath being fully embracing the warlike culture. Unless you want to talk more about that.
No, that was about it.
Okay, yeah. We talked about Spike trying to cheat on Carly and failing.
Oh, also his strength still being consistent in that he...
Yeah.
You mentioned that he just rips it off.
Yeah. You've got a note about Nimue's name?
Yes, so apparently in Arthurian mythology, Nimue is usually the name attributed to the Lady of the Lake.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
She is also known for being the surrogate mother to Lancelot, the significant other or apprentice to Merlin, and also an instrument in his capture.
Yes.
So
either she's got that name just because it's a name that exists here, or this could be set up for what she's going to do in the future.
Well, considering how fast she falls for the other knights.
Yeah.
In comparison, she was goo eyes at Spike the whole episode.
Up until he lost.
Until he lost. Then she fell in love with the knight super duper fast and got married to him. And she hadn't met Merlin at that point.
Yeah.
So...
Which he's not Merlin. He's just Beort.
He's Merlin.
Yeah.
Merlin by any other name.
Yeah.
So these sort of events could happen.
Yeah. Interesting.
And there's also magic, so she could become a lady of the lake.
Yeah, maybe strange women distributing swords in ponds is a good basis for system of government in this world.
Could be.
Perhaps.
Oh, there's so many Monty Python quotes that could go over this episode.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just imagining Blackthorn Castle just sinking into the moat, into the swamp. Oh my goodness. So yeah, we already kind of talked about the magic and the sky gods and
Dragon's Bane.
Dragon's Bane. Let's talk about Dragon's Bane being gunpowder. I think it's a nice little touch and nod to, just because the medieval people viewed something different or called it something different did not mean that the medieval people were dumber than us, because that's kind of a fallacy of a lot of just people offhandedly talking about the Middle Ages as if people were dumb and lived in mud all the time, Yeah. Sure, they're medicine wasn't what it is today, and technology isn't the same as it is today, but they had lives, they had interest and intelligence, and they were trying to make it work.
Yeah, they're just dealing with the collapse of the Roman Empire and
Yeah.
then a plague that wiped out like a third to half of all of
Yeah.
Europe.
Yeah.
You know, they're doing the best.
Yeah. 1,000 years from now, people will be saying that we were dumb and didn't know what was going on.
Precisely.
Yep.
Which I think a lot of people are saying that right now about us.
Yeah.
Specifically this podcast.
There's an Arthurian myth guy and a Transformers Deep Lore TF Wiki mod just sitting in the same room listening to us and just going like, oh,
Man. Yep. Yep.
But all in all, goofy.
Yeah.
Episode.
Great episode. Classic, we're back! And everyone else is like, huh? Where'd they go? Ending, where they just like pop out of the...
Starscream saying, did you miss me?
Yeah, sort of thing. Funny. Great episode.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take it seriously, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do Dragonsbane, kids.
Oh yeah, Starscream. The last thought. Starscream
Yeah.
teaches 80s children how to make gunpowder.
Yeah! We now have the formula. I love that sequence too where they're making it and Rumble just comes back covered in bird crap. Just sticking potassium nitrate.
We have another episode where Starscream's like, now today I will make methamphetamines.
Rumble, we need to cook.
Megatron comes up to I don't know, Shockwave, and Shockwave's like pressing a bell, and then Megatron gets blown up.
Or that one meme where Starscream's like explaining to Starscream's explaining to Megatron. So you see the precarious nature of this island drifting in the sea of time, taking energies from it may disrupt the things that will cause the destruction of the planet, if not the universe. Starscream, what are you talking about? Okay. And with that, we'll take a short break and come back and hopefully speed run through our segments if you guys are up for it.
Yeah.
Whew. All right, we're back with best quotes and weird robot lingo, some noteworthy one-liners, dialogue, or weird robot versions of idioms. For our first episode, Desertion of the Dinobots Part 1. Hayden, you go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Me Grimlock no like orders. Me Slag no like anything.
We really need your help. Why won't you give us a hand? Me not know why not, so we help this time. We'll Jack, Grit, Block, and Slag. Jonah, you could read the next one.
The Decepticons are in that hangar. We fix.
We fix.
B and Sludge talking. Grapple. I am an artist. My precision is uncanny. Tin candy's more like it. Grapple and Powerglide.
Don't worry, Grapple. We all make mistakes. Not me. Not like this.
That one took me out.
Ah, yes.
It made me think of the Matrix of the girl about to die. She's like, not like this.
Not like this.
Yeah.
Do the honors of Megatron's line.
It's the auto. The auto. He's blown his vocal components. I guess that makes me the new leader.
Yes, no! Slag. I've been riding with the Autobots so long, I hope I still know how to drive. Sparkplug gives us a little glimpse into how long he's been just around these guys and just not having to drive.
Yeah.
Me Swoop want to hear brilliant parts.
Which is oddly similar to his line of saying,
Good part. Tell Swoop good part.
in the movie.
Yeah. Also kind of sets up him being the friendly one in the next episode.
He's inquisitive.
Cybertronium, Cybertron.
What'd he say? Sludge summing up his character. He really gets the bad end of the stick because he was smart the first episode he was in, and then after that he's just the dumbest of the dumb.
What'd he say?
Grimlock, me never get back to bossy Autobots.
And Desertion of the Dinobots Part 2. Miserable glitches.
I had to do a double take on that one. At first I was like, what did he say?
What'd he say?
Look, I'm just saying that Shockwave would use that word.
He would.
Yeah, except he thinks all of those are extinct.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Shockwave canonically uses slurs.
We're gonna try to get just cut that out. The more I see of this planet, the more I like it. The more I see of it, the more tired I get.
I'll just go ahead and do that whole passage where he's, why you make noise? Because we left some of our stomachs back up there. Oh!
Me glad me not have stomach to leave.
Metal of good old days, not so good.
Me almost forgets me swoop can transform.
Me not know that before.
Me Grimlock guess helping others okay.
Two. Sludge repeating after me too.
No! Me hate you!
I will say, I'm a sucker for any time there's a fake argument to do a jailbreak scene.
Those are always great.
Oh, I love this one. Shockwave, the Dinobots are refusing to work with the humans. Then remove the humans.
Simple enough.
Yeah, just Shockwave is having a bad day. Megatron's been having a really bad day, so that trickles down to Shockwave having a bad day. And this is just the icing on the cake that he has to micromanage Buzz Lightyear.
I love middle management Shockwave.
Yes.
Another tube? But there's no car! Me Grimlock need no car!
And I guess he doesn't because they just float.
Yeah.
I always wondered, can the Dinobots fly because when they're in robot mode because the wings kind of fold out?
They're kibble wings.
They're kibble wing things?
Until next time me Grimlock no feel like it.
Is that a threat?
Yes, it is.
It is.
Because I always thought it was like, until next time, me Grimlock no feel like it. Like, I don't feel like helping until next time.
Feels like
until
the nervous laughter
I don't
ending.
feel, like everybody should laugh. Yeah, and it feels like everybody should be laughing, or because it's a joke, or at least have nervous laughter. But nobody laughs at all. And what I finally figured out is he's saying, until the next time that I don't feel like helping you.
Yeah.
We're gonna help you until the next time I don't feel like helping you. Which apparently was never until the movie.
Yeah.
Until
Yep.
2005. All right, Blaster Blues.
Oh, this says everybody quotes this. We gotta say this at the same time.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Shut up!
Yeah, Optimus
Probably
says,
spelled-
"Shut up, Blaster," but then everybody chimes in, "Shut up."
Probably spelled SHADDUP.
Shut up!
Shut up.
Give me a forecast, not a blank look. The radio guy to his computer.
Will Ferrell radio guy.
Oh, yeah, him. Why, that son of an 8-track.
That's a good idiom there. Looks like the big boy needs a little training.
Astrotrain, very, very happy about his naming convention.
Oh, the last one was Trailbreaker, and I feel like that's definitely a Trailbreaker line to say.
Yes.
Parting is such sweet sorrow. Megatron quoting himself, I think that's Shakespeare?
Maybe. Yes. Romeo and Juliet, I think. Optimus trying to discipline Blaster.
And not
Your
be Uncle
volume, like any capability, is a responsibility. With great radio comes great responsibility.
A Decepticon Raider in King Arthur's court.
I just changed heads last week.
My nose! You've ruined my nose!
And then it's fine later.
Now try to act noble, even if thou aren't. Oh, sorry. I think I could inject more Valley Girl.
Come on, give some more
Oh
Valley
my
Girl.
god. Now try to act noble, even if thou aren't.
She sounds just like that through the whole episode.
I have a note on that in errors. Now, make some idiot 20 feet tall and he thinks he rules the world. Bayort.
Got your stupid potassium nitrate.
Rumble covered in bird crap. Should I help thee right into the moat? Sir Wolf. I like that one. Next time somebody comes up to me in a store, hey, can you help me?
We never saw the dragon. That's because he's been out visiting relatives.
Implying that the dragon has a social life. I love that line. It's just, wait, what? All right. Next segment. Favorite characters in this batch of episodes. Mention who and why. Jonah, who's your favorite in this batch of episodes?
Ooh, I mean, it's the
you could pick a few if you want.
Yeah. Starscream for a couple of at least the last one was very good. I think that for the two-parter, I actually think I've got to say Carly, which is surprising for me.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good solid pick there. And then Astro Train for this episode. Just because he has the scream. And
we need to put that out there up with like the dying Lego Yoda noise, you know?
And like punning off of your own name. Like imagine if I just made like whale puns all the time or something.
Maybe that's what you should transform into.
Oh yes,
A whale.
I did actually think that sea transformers are underutilized potentially.
They really are.
Yeah. We get a couple of boats in season 2 and in season 3, but
the Seacons in
the
Headmasters.
Seacons and is it Headmasters? I thought it was Master Force.
Oh, it is Master Force.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a psychopathic guest say that they want to transform into a nuclear submarine.
Well, we already had Jacob say he wanted to turn into a submarine that collapses on rich people.
Oh god,
that was like the most Jacob thing he said.
Yeah, that tracks.
There's a reason I went with the forklift thing, the man lift.
Yeah,
because that was his first choice, was the man lift.
But yeah, Starscream, Astro Train, Carly, and I mean, Megatron had some good moments.
Yeah, I think I gotta go with either Carly or Swoop for the first one, and then I don't know, Cosmos always kind of is one of my favorites.
Probably Sludge.
Hoist gets quite a few moments in a lot of these episodes, but he's not really a main character.
He's always a support.
Yeah.
I would say Grapple, but he only gets like 2 lines.
It's me. It's like this. Yeah, for me, probably Sludge.
Sludge.
Anytime Sludge is on screen, I love everything about him.
Yeah, Sludge is one of my favorite Dinobots.
All of his lines, Tutu.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably Carly. Carly, because she's very capable, and also she does not deserve to get cheated on by Spike.
Right.
Come on, Spike. Do better.
Get it together, man. I do like hold up. I like Cosmos.
Yeah.
I like Cosmos because he's just he's so pudgy. Every scene that he's in, he's just like a very stocky looking dude.
Yeah.
And very, very affable, even in the worst possible circumstances, where he's just like, you know, it's like, hey, broadcast some tunes up here because I'm lonely.
Yeah. And then I just love middle management. Shockwave.
Yes. Mr. Escape.
Then remove the humans. Stupid.
Do something about it.
I've dispatched the Sentinel. The Sentinel is dead. Yeah, anyway, moving on. Next segment. Magic Slidey Hand Tech. Any notable gadget Transformers pull out of their various body parts? First up, we got Spaghetti Fingers coming out of Soundwave for searching in that safe. Jazz Speakers, of course. B has a wrist comm. Ironhide has wrist goo. Thumb radio.
Thumbprint radio.
It's the dumbest place to put a radio.
I know.
You use your thumb to touch so many different things.
Yeah. Why not? If you can make it that small, just put it in his ear. Or somewhere he's not going to be touching. I don't know. In his belly button or something.
Yeah.
Shockwave has the powers of the Negavator from the episode Auto Berserk.
Yes.
Because he just negates the existence of several items, including Carly's car, which I always thought that there should be a Transformer that turns into Carly's car. Also, he has a miniature version of himself.
Yeah.
The gun he's holding is him in gun mode. The Photon Light.
You just have to say the name and it's funny.
It's my Photon Light. Buzz Lightyear's chest television.
Yes, I love his I want that. It just pops out of my chest.
It's called a cell phone.
But it's not in my chest.
If you have a breast pocket,
It's not
or just breasts.
But I
you
can't
can
just
say-
pull it out and have it open in front of me.
He's from a special line of Transformers, along with Tinky Winky, a couple of others, and Poe.
I'm surprised he doesn't have a shape on his antenna above his head.
Hey, I mean, the UFO shape is the same
Yeah.
vessel as the Vok and Beast Wars, and
yeah.
the Teletubbies have a UFO, so
Yeah,
it's all
yeah,
connected.
Yeah. And and the Vok UFO is covered in grass or something. Yeah.
Anything that the Vok, anything that's vaguely shaped like a UFO is the Vok. Therefore, the Teletubbies are the Vok.
That's the next crossover toy we're getting.
Yes. The capital THE Voltronic Galaxer.
Oh yeah. Megatron has a wrist comm, Hoist has a long claw, Cosmos has wrist guns, Blaster has buttons, and Omega Supreme has a long bed thing on
He's got a
retractable
stretcher.
arm thing that he puts in his rocket ship. Okay.
He's got a stretcher on a dentist's arm probe thing.
Okay, next segment. Favorite errors, any noteworthy animation and sound design, or lore mistakes. Desertion of the Dinobots Part 1, we have a tiny snarl and sludge when they're exiting the Ark.
Yes.
All the
mentioned
Dinobots are moving.
You also mentioned the
Jonah, if you want to go over your
scale.
Oh yeah, the scale of the airplanes when the Decepticons are launching their surprise attack, their trick on them, and then shooting the airplanes behind them. Yeah. Just I really if you could put a picture of that. So the audience needs to know the scale that the airplanes that they made behind the Dinobots are massive. The landing wheels are bigger than people. And then they blow up.
Maybe that can be our thumbnail.
Yeah, either the thumbnail in the thing, or it'll be the thumbnail in the post I make, or it'll just be a separate post.
And then after that's over, after the commercial break, the airplanes are back to normal size.
Right.
And they're tiny behind Megatron.
Right. And they use one to haul off the Dinobots in.
Yeah.
And normally I don't pay any attention to scale in this show. I just accept it. But that moment I just...
There's another moment of scale later on.
Uh-huh.
B and the humans also were so close to that there's no way they weren't affected by the same explosion as the Dinobots.
Yeah.
There is no door on whatever the building is that Hoist... Grapple and...
The new building that they're building.
The building that they're building. There is no door on any of its sides.
It makes me think of Drake and Josh.
Where's the door?
Where's the power cutter?
Yeah. And I already mentioned, not an error, but Shockwave has a tiny Shockwave.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shockwave is holding his tiny Shockwave.
Desertion of the Dinobots Part 2. Shockwave massively exploded the elevator shaft, but now the space bridge shaft, but now everything is okay.
Yep. I might not have mentioned this, but the space bridge effect is the same effect that they use for the time warps in Dinobot Island.
Oh, yeah.
I think I might have mentioned that in the lightning round, but I can't remember because that was like 3 hours ago. And it's not an animation error; it's just an interesting reuse of assets.
Yeah.
Yeah, it even shows in the recap that Spike and Carly definitely blew up, and then like everything is fine. Spike's gun moves across the room during the commercial break when Swoop breaks into Wheeljack's lab.
Yeah.
And this first time that Spike uses that big gun, his hand isn't on the trigger.
Nowhere near it.
Yeah, no.
Yep. And then you pointed this out earlier, but go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Spike and Carly aren't wearing seat belts on the ship, and they're falling down. So,
Yeah.
but they're acting like, they're pressing into the seat, which isn't how that works.
Yeah, it would be if it nosedived down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were confused.
Yeah. The narrator talks about, well, it could be maybe some sort of gravitational thing with getting closer to the bottom of the planet.
They are close to the center of the planet, so...
The narrator talks about Autobots inventing new techniques, but shows Decepticons in the history video. Or at least who I assume are Decepticons, because they're all like purple and spiky. Blaster Blues. My ears. Why did they overlay both of those generic rock songs? I don't mind those songs. I think they're fun, but like at the same time,
Yeah.
My brain.
Yeah.
Megatron's laugh also like looped really weird when he was
really?
laughing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's like ah.
Yeah. Like he just did a short laugh and then they had to play it twice.
It's like,
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, could you run that by us one more time, Frank?
Power Glide turns into like an A-10 Thunderbolt fighter jet, right? It has one seat. Why are there two seats side by side? We'll see this in other episodes with Power Glide in it. Why are there two seats side by side like a car and like there's just this trunk area behind them?
His plane mode is like built like a Cessna on the inside, but it's an A10 on the outside.
Yeah. Maybe Power Glide is just the sedan model or something.
Yeah.
Scale. Yeah, we've mentioned this. Scale between root mode and alt modes in this is a joke.
Specifically,
Cosmos will be huge in UFO mode and then tiny in robot mode, and Blaster will be tiny in boombox mode and huge in robot mode. It's like their robot modes are to scale with the way that their toys scale, because the original Blaster toy is giant and the original Cosmos is tiny.
Yeah.
But then they are like, well, we gotta switch it for their alternate modes. And then Astro Strange's scream as he's flung into space. It's like just chopped off at the beginning, so he just starts mid-scream. It's great. And then here's the big one we were talking about. Not playing the music when Blaster is supposedly playing music and running away from the Autobots chasing him for playing music.
Even Optimus is like,
because Optimus is
Blaster!
like, remember, be responsible with your music. And then Blaster's like, I'll show you. Presses the play button, and then it should start playing the music. And that's why they're chasing him, and he's running away, but it's not playing the music, it's just still playing the scene, the non-diegetic music. Yeah. So it's always confusing. And then I mentioned Mandela effect. I always thought it was Blaster's Blues. But
Yeah.
No.
Decepticon Raider and King Arthur's Courts.
We mentioned Starscream can't do math, and these are the ones that I was leading up to. Number one, there's no King Arthur or court in this episode.
Yes.
But apparently the title is a reference to a Mark Twain novel. Camelot is referenced, and Nimue, we mentioned, her name is also from Arthurian legend. So it's still possible that those characters may exist off-screen somewhere. The armor tournament and some of the other medieval stuff, doing air quotes, is more like 1200s to 1400s era type medieval things that would happen, rather than what they say being the 500s. They should be like more in like chainmail and have more like Anglo-Saxon type armor and clothing. More Viking stuff, like early Viking stuff. Not the horned helmet Vikings, but like real like Vinland Saga type, Viking stuff. And the language, of course, is more LARP than Old English or Anglo-Saxon.
Yeah, since this is before the Normans invaded, they would be speaking German, basically.
Basically, Old German, yeah. Yeah, even pre-Old English, I guess. It'd be a type of Anglo-Saxon.
It would be about Old English, yeah.
Yeah, it's
still
Old
Germanic,
English.
though.
Yeah, Germanic. Yeah, mostly Germanic. Yeah. So, very anachronistic with the times. I mean, it'd be fine if they said it was taking place in the 1200s or something like that, but specifically, it's because the Arthurian legend is usually based in the 500s, but knights in plate armor and tournaments and stuff like that is so indicative of the it's so shorthand for medieval, right? Just commonly I say knight, you say plate armor. You might not say plate armor, but that's the image that pops into most people's heads.
When you say knight, I say transformer.
Well, thank you. Oh yeah, the 5th Michael Bay movie. So it makes sense why they do that, and also a lot of the Arthurian legend is written in the 1200s to 1400s, so the people who were originally making up the Arthurian legend were probably imagining them wearing plate armor and stuff anyway, because that was just how medieval storytelling and art worked. They'd have scenes from the Bible and they're wearing medieval clothes sometimes, just because they're like, I don't know. It's like partially just because of, adaptation and stuff like that. It was a whole interesting thing. Anyway, I'm a fantasy and medieval history nerd too. I'm not an expert on either, but I like that kind of stuff. We all do. We all do.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for now. On to our next segment, the TF Wiki Go Button trivia page. Hayden.
Yes, I do have something.
This is where we click on the random page button on TF Wiki and summarize a random page.
So, I have Clutch. Clutch is like maybe 3 or 4 pieces of plastic that's like a little scooter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like a little Lego scooter or something.
He is a small scooter-like robot carried in the trunk section of Cybertron Ambassador Crosscut. Its main function is to store all of Crosscut's memories and data tracks, so in the event that Crosscut is captured or killed, Clutch can return to the Autobots with all of Crosscut's information.
Interesting.
It is not to be confused with the Autoscout. Also, he is small. And this thing is tiny. Very, very tiny. It's a little scooter. It's got a little plastic wheel, 2 of them. And the only other thing that moves on it is the handle that you actually, ride on top of.
So this came with Crosscut, and
Crosscut is basically a Roman senator, but a Cybertronian. He is fluent in over 230 Earth languages and 6,300 alien languages. Though he carries a lot of weaponry, it is all defensive in nature, meant to incapacitate rather than kill. In dire emergencies, he can transfer all of his data and memories to his scooter drone, Clutch, so his knowledge won't be lost even if he falls to the Decepticons.
And he's a redeco of Skids, it looks like.
I believe so.
G1 Skids. Not Revenge of the Fallen Skids.
Not that Skids.
Not
Which
my
is
first toy.
Yeah, is a but is also like a van, right? So the scooter goes in the back of the van?
I believe so. Yes, it does.
Cool. So did that toy originally come with the original Skid toy, or is that a leftover from Diaclone, or is that
let me see. I believe.
So that's like his version of Roller then, like Optimus's Roller.
Which is what I thought was pretty interesting about him, is that it's another kind of like small scooter-like backup entity for
Right.
a Transformer.
Right.
So
It doesn't transform; it just rolls around.
Also, very funny that his name is Clutch, because if he gets used, then he's going to come in clutch. Yeah, and that is TF Wiki. Go Blind Trivia.
Nice, short one for our very long-winded episode that will probably be cut into.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and with that, we'll go on to our final segment, the cliffhanger questions. Last time we did not have one because we knew that this episode would already run long. So this time it is Jonah's turn to ask me a Transformers-related question.
Sure. Does time travel come up again?
Yes. Sorry, that doesn't need a cliffhanger.
Many times.
Several times. Yes, several times. At least once more in season 2, and then at least once, maybe twice in season 3.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's just Generation 1, too.
And that's for Generation 1. Yeah.
See Beast Wars.
Okay.
Anyway,
Let me
yeah.
expand that question just
Yes.
slightly. Does magic come into play again?
Okay,
Okay,
that's
now that's... Yeah, I will
What?
have to do some research on that to, like, figure out what should we define as magic. Because you could just kind of say the whole scale issue is magic.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is a good question.
but like wizards using magic, sort of type of magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this, not Merlin. Let's
Yeah.
call him Merlot. No.
Merlot.
Not Merlin invokes the pagan sky gods to cast a magic spell.
Right.
And just kind of drops this on us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yes.
So I'm going to leave this little bit of knowledge here.
Yeah. All right. Well, you will have to tune in next time for my question. In this case, I guess I will be doing research.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's my wife calling, so I guess we better wrap this up.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us and listening to our ramblings. And a special thank you to Jonah for joining us in our ramblings. I almost called you joining.
No, it's okay. Thank you for letting me speak for the first time in 15 years.
We finally let him out of his cage.
Do you have any other closing remarks you'd like?
I've got nothing to plug, so
All right.
just happy to be here on the podcast.
All
Yes.
right, great. And we can't wait to have you back for the, you wanted to be on the movie, right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So we can all relive our childhood trauma together.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be
Would
great.
you like to read our outro, our little thing for next time?
Oh yes, of course. I hope you will all join the BroBots in Disguise again next pod episode, where they'll be discussing the Transformers episodes, The Golden Lagoon, The God Gambit, Make Tracks, and Quest for Survival. At the time of this recording, these Transformers episodes are available on the Hasbro Plus YouTube channel, as well as the DVD and several other streaming services such as Tubi. Not sponsored, nor have been sponsored, just want you to know where to watch.
Indeed.
All right. And with that, thank you for being on the show, and we will. And thank you all for listening. We'll see you later. Oh!